We got a super fun episode of looking at fine print and contract paperwork today. Welcome back to the New Nurse Guidebook. My name is Pierre Lafour. If you're new to the channel, the purpose of this channel is to help new graduate nurses live healthier, wealthier, more happy and fulfilling lives. Today we're going to be pulling on a thread with the CRNA Air Force HPSP scholarship, a program that I've recently received a scholarship for, and I wanted to share with you some of the fine print paperwork and the contract details on things I was not aware that are in between the lines, so to speak, in the contract, and what to expect if you do get selected for an HPSP scholarship. So without further ado, let's hop into it. So this is the Armed Forces Health Professional Scholarship Program Armed Service Agreement. So I'm going to scroll down and just this one's been filled out with my personal information with some things redacted. We'll just kind of go down the line. And these are points that I highlighted and thought were significant. As a member of the program, I agree that unless sooner separated, I will remain in the program to complete the educational phase leading to a professional degree in the course of study. I specifically acknowledge that I may not unilaterally terminate my participation in the program by refusing to apply or accept the monetary benefits of the program set forth elsewhere in this agreement. Basically, from my understanding of what this is saying, is that you can't stop the program and just say, nope, I don't want the scholarship money anymore. Nope. You've signed this agreement and now you have to fulfill the agreement. I understand that I must obtain a permanent unrestricted nursing license in the state of my choice as prescribed in the applicable statute. What I thought was interesting here is that you get to choose which state you're licensed in. It doesn't have to be bound, like I'm going to school in Ohio, but I don't need to receive an Ohio nursing license. I could get it for Georgia or California or South Carolina. All that matters is that I have one. If enrolled in an advanced practice nurse program, I agreed to successfully complete the appropriate specified board certification within 60 days of the completion of the degree program, meaning within 60 days after graduating, you will become board certified as a CRNA. If after 2 attempts I am unable to successfully appropriate license board certified or maintain the license, I will be required to perform duties consistent with service requirements as determined by the needs of the Air Force Nurse Corps. Meaning, if you attempt twice your CRNA board certification and you don't pass it, from my understanding, what I would imagine would happen is they'd have you take it again, because at the end of the day, the Air Force wants a CRNA, but they could make you fulfill your service obligation by just being a registered nurse in the Air Force if you're not actually able to pass your boards. I agree to participate in designated military training as located by the Air Force Institute of Technology, Civilian Institute Medical Division. Upon selection of the program, I agree to complete my requirements for appointment as a commissioned officer. I agree to meet the Air Force's appearance, weight, fitness, and standards established by policy regulation. So basically being in good shape. Don't have crazy tattoos or crazy hair set up or anything like that. I understand that I will not be permitted to voluntarily withdraw from the program, meaning I cannot just say, hey, I want to be out of the program. You're locked in. As a result, program participation, I will incur 8 years of military service obligation for any participation in the program. And you might be thinking, I thought it was 3 years. And that was my reaction at first. From my understanding, basically, one way or another, joining the military as an officer, they get their 8-year pound of flesh. Now, the fine print in here is basically I'm going to do 3 years active duty and then 5 years an individual ready reserve. The remaining portion of the service obligation is a reserve service obligation, RSO, shall be served in the individual ready reserve, unless the Secretary of the Air Force and I mutually agree that the remaining portion. So basically, IRR is you're not like a weekend warrior like you are in the reserves, but instead it's like, cool, you've gone through all this Air Force training, now you're working in the civilian world. If things hit the fan with current events and war breaks out and the military has a demand for your specialty, which in this case would be a CRNA, During that 5-year window, they are allowed to call you back up into service to come work for them if need be, given current events. Now, a way around that, or a way to have more control over the situation, is to just extend your active duty service time if you wanted to, or you could join the reserves unit, and then that way you would be fulfilling that 8 years total, and you have a little more authority and autonomy over what you do and where you go. But that's what IRR means. You're not doing anything, but if things were to hit the fan, instead of the military drafting people, they're like, cool, we already have all these people trained and ready to go. Let's just call them back up again. So that's what IRR means. That's what they mean when they say 8-year service obligation, which I didn't know about, which I thought was really fascinating. If I am twice non-selected for promotion and have not yet fulfilled the term of continuous active duty under this agreement, and am offered selective continuation, then I agree to accept selective continuation on active duty rather than elect to be discharged as a result of being twice non-selected for promotion. Failure to comply with this provision could result in recoupment of payment under program in accordance with 37 USC, blah, 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 blah. Basically, it's saying that promotion means advancing in rank, from my understanding. And the only way your pay increases is by getting an increase in rank. You get annual, the more time you accrue in service, from my understanding, the more your income goes up. So if you're an 03, a captain in the Air Force, your income will advance some. But if you're like passed up to be advanced to rank of 04, then you still have to fulfill your service locked in at that 03. Otherwise, you'd have to pay back the scholarship money. But, I mean, over 3 years, the likelihood of you even being able to make rank and advance to 04 is, I would imagine, unlikely. As a program member, I understand that while pursuing the course of study, I shall serve on active duty training in the pay grade of 01 with full pay allowances for that grade for a period of 45 days during each year of participation in the program. Except when serving on active duty, I will receive a stipend rate established by law. Such stipend will be suspended upon the date of regular course of study is completed. So you'll no longer receive the stipend, which is the $2,300 a month, once you've graduated and finished. Then you'll be advanced to a pay rate of 01 as an officer until you finish OTS, Officer Training School. Stipend and base pay are subject to federal and state income tax, so you will be taxed on your stipend. Bummer. I'm eligible to receive payment or reimbursement for actually incurred and improved educational expenses that are supported by purchase receipts and certified as essentials for the course of study by a school official designated by the institution. These include tuition, fees, books, lab expenses, clinical costs, precious and semi-precious metals, that'd be more for like dentistry and fillings and stuff, payments for educational services, and non-expendable equipment. But this includes things like room and board, non-academic expenses, yearbooks, school newspaper, parking fees, and tickets for sporting events, which I guess somebody's tried that before. But so what I'm getting away from this little jargon is basically, hey, there's some actual extra money on the table aside from the stipend. The stipend you use for a living and cost of living, and then you can also be reimbursed for what I would imagine are things like textbooks, lab fees, and then also I'm curious to know if I could purchase a new laptop and get that reimbursed. I'm waiting to hear back. I'll hear from AFIT, the Air Force. It's the department who you have like a case manager who's over your HPSP, and you have somebody who it's like you run these receipts by and send out and run all this paperwork through. So I will be asking about that and updating you, because it might be nice to get a nice laptop or maybe an iPad for studying. I don't know if I want to be one of those students or whatever. But yeah, so we'll see. I'm required to submit all reimbursement requests to AFIT HPSP program office within the same fiscal year. So you have a year window, and it's the military finance year, the 1st of October to 30th of September, not the calendar year, which is interesting to know. I understand it is my duty as a student to confirm that AFIT received my reimbursement request. Cool. I further understand and agree that service performed while I'm a member of this program will not be counted, meaning that my years towards service don't accrue until after you graduate from the program. In determining eligibility for retirement other than reasons of physical disability incurred while active duty membership. This is more fine print going into depth on what I was just talking about. If I am disenrolled from this program, I understand that the Secretary of the Air Force or his or her designee retains the prerogative to either order me to active duty or other monetary repayment for scholarship benefit. Therefore, if I'm required to repay payments made to me on my behalf, the terms of this contract, my subsequent enlistment, and the armed services will not relieve me from my repayment obligation. Interesting. That means that if I get out of the program, I owe the Air Force money, basically. And enlisting in the military will not absolve me from having to pay back this money. But it says, order me to active duty or monetary repayment, meaning I could probably serve as a nurse officer instead of having to pay them back the money, but that would really suck. Just stay locked in the program, graduate, become a CRNA, accomplish the mission. I agree to repay the United States an amount equal to the unearned portion of any benefit under this program and reimburse the Air Force for all costs incurred as determined by the Secretary of the Air Force. I understand that the Air Force cannot guarantee my religious practices will be accommodated. Interesting. This is most specifically referring to like conscientious objectors for fighting in combat, although as a medical officer, I would imagine that wouldn't apply. I understand that all financial inducements and benefits, including housing, healthcare, blah, 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 pay, privileges, retirement, blah, 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 are subject to change at any time without notice. Are subject to change at any time without notice. We'll highlight that part. I understand that in return for up to 3 academic years of sponsorship, I shall serve 3 years in extended active duty and serve 5 years in IRR, unless mutually agreed that the portion of service in the IRR shall be served on active duty or in selective reserve. This is something, I guess doctors get like $20,000 extension bonus, but like you're on the hook for a separate 4-year active duty service obligation. It's like, I don't know if I want $20,000 that bad. I agree to reimburse the United States, Iowa, the repayment provisions. Shall be able to commence the period specific. Changes in family dynamics, pregnancy, custody of a minor child are not reasons for automatic separation. It is Air Force policy that offers who incurred. Interesting. I, the individual, am financially responsible for all costs that I incur while obtaining or maintaining my required healthcare professional license. So that means that I can't. The medical quality operations prohibits using appropriated funds to pay fees relating to professional license. They will not directly pay for my licensing. I have to pay out of pocket technically for that. I understand, this one's really interesting. I understand that while participating in the Air Force HPSP program, neither I nor my family are eligible for military health care / TRICARE benefits unless I am on my annual 45-day active duty order. If I must repeat an academic period or discontinue my professional education, or if I refuse to comply with or fail to meet applicable standards of the Air Force, then the Air Force will suspend my Air Force HPSP benefits unless I am deemed eligible for continued participation in the Air Force HPSP program. Grade determination. Individuals entering are appointed as second lieutenants in the medical service, second lieutenants, Medical Service Corps Reserve for the duration of their training. Second lieutenants in 01. I will be required to attend OTS officer training school after completion of Air Force HPSP en route to my first active duty assignment. Arrangement and scheduling for OTS will be made through the AFPC. I understand that physical fitness is critical to my success in military service. Basically, I won't get fat and I'll be able to meet the physical fitness requirements. Muscular strength, the 1-minute push-ups, and 1 minute of sit-ups, and a 1.5 mile run. Be in shape, you're going to be in the military. Leave of absence from Air Force HPSP due to academic, health, or personal issues may be granted on a case-by-case basis when determined to be in the best interest of the Air Force. Absences to participate in research, pursue coursework for non-sponsored specialized training, or participate in non-curricular activities accordingly will not be approved. Any request for a leave of absence from the program participation must be coordinated with the program manager at AFIT prior to requesting leave of absence from the health professions school. So it seems like if you need a leave of absence, something happens, like a family member dies or something, and you need to just take away time to help out, something crazy happens, then you have to coordinate that with your program manager at AFIT prior to communicating with your school. So interesting. I hope you found some of this information interesting. I know your eyes probably glazed over for parts of it, but this is the fine print. This is what you're like signing your soul away to do. So I think it's good to read the fine print and, highlight things that are applicable and you find interesting. These are what I found interesting. I highly encourage that if you receive this scholarship to read through your service agreement and scrutinize it, highlight things, ask questions, and speak up if there's anything you don't understand about. Because at the end of the day, you are your own advocate and no one's really going to hold your hand and come to save you. You have to figure it out on your own. But I hope that this video helped you a little bit more in understanding some of the nuances of this scholarship and figuring things out for your own. If you found this helpful, leave a like, comment on what other content you'd like for me to make, share it with somebody who might find this helpful. This is Pierre LaFour signing off with the New Nurse Guidebook. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.